this evening. I was told it's a chartered accountant program, so that's why I was invited. I'm a chartered accountant, but I just see a very young faces. I became a chartered accountant at the age of 32, but I see some really young faces in the audience, so it's always nice to be amongst the professionals here. And we have our great guest here, His Holiness Swami Bhagavan Keshava Swami. So thank you for being here, Maharaj. And I wanted to start off with a question that I don't know if anyone has seen Maharaj's social media or Instagram, but I see very nice photos from Google, from Meta, from Microsoft, etc. Maharaj, how has your corporate journey been? Have you worked in a corporate firm before, and how has that gone?
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for being here this evening. I guess maybe before I begin, I'll just say a prayer of gratitude to our teachers, just to kind of open our hearts a little bit, and then I'll respond to the question about Google. Om Agyan Atimiran Dhasya Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. I sometimes tell people when I grew up there were only 4 choices: doctor, lawyer, engineer, or failure. I don't know which one I turned out to be. Definitely not a doctor, lawyer, or engineer. Hopefully not a failure either. But yeah, I grew up, I went to university, I studied computer science and management, and I had a very good time at university actually. It was one of the best times of my life. But I guess around that age I was questioning meaning, questioning purpose, questioning what is success really? And therefore, after I graduated, I had the opportunity to go into the corporate world. But I thought to myself, before I go into the corporate world, let me spend some time to explore the inner world. You've got to explore the inner world before going to the corporate world. So I decided to go to India for 6 months. And I guess in that time in India, I found my spiritual calling. I understood my own personality better, and I could ascertain what my contribution in life could potentially be. And so at the age of 21 I came back to London and I became a monk. And I continue that journey 25 years later, but now a lot of my work ironically is going into the corporate world. And so nowadays I still spend time in offices in the corporate world, but I try to go there and share spiritual wisdom, to try and share principles that can help people to live their lives, but live it with more meaning, with more purpose, with more balance, and with more happiness and satisfaction. And so I have to admit I've never worked in the corporate world. But the amazing thing about spiritual teachings is that they're so comprehensive, they're so deep, that they can be applied to any situation, to any person, at any time. And therefore what the Bhagavad Gita has to offer is even powerful for the corporate world. So I don't work in the corporate world, but I still try and serve in the corporate world. And I think the corporate world is actually can be very beautiful as well. Okay, is that an extra mic? Oh, it's better quality? Okay, he can take this one. So, no, that's fine. I'll just take two for now. Corporate world. That's yours. Yeah, so that's part of what I do now, yeah. So I go, we were just the other week, we were at the FMA, is it? Is that what they call it? Is that bank here? The FMA? FMO, sorry, yeah. So we just did something at the FMO a few days ago. Tomorrow we'll be going to Accenture. So yeah, like this, different topics, trying to bring the spirituality and the corporate world into a synergy.
Thank you, Maharaj. And usually we don't work for free. We need something back, and that's usually money and wealth. So, what's the Vedic perspective on money and wealth? Where does it fit into the Vedic tradition?
Give it all to the guy in orange. No, I'm joking. Wealth there's nothing wrong with wealth. Some people think the biblical statement is money is the root of all evil. Heard that one? Did you know that the actual biblical statement is the love of money is the root of all evil? In other words, money or wealth is not bad in and of itself. In fact, according to Vedic teachings, there are 4 goals that are pursued during one's life. The first one is known as dharma. The second one is known as artha. The third one is known as kama. And the fourth one is known as moksha. So it's explained that when you go on the journey of life, the first thing that's very important is dharma. You need to know your principles, your values. You need to know those things that you need to live by. Doesn't matter what situation you're in, you never compromise on your dharma. And what the ancient teachers explain, dharma rakshita rakshita. If you protect your dharma will protect you. And therefore it said, if you do dharma, the very next thing that will happen in your life is you will get artha. And artha means wealth. Sometimes people think religious people are the ones who are all poor. But actually the real spiritual people, money and wealth will actually come to them because divinity and providence knows they're the ones who actually know how to utilize it properly. So why will not wealth not come to them? So it said the second goal of life is the acquisition of wealth. And what happens when you acquire wealth? Dharma, artha, kama. Then you fulfill your desires. You can get everything you ever wanted. A house by the sea, a color TV, whatever you need. But then it's explained that the person going on the progressive journey of life will realize, I fulfilled all my desires, but something still seems to be missing. And then it said that on the journey of life, the fourth thing that you'll encounter is moksha. And moksha means what's beyond it all. I've done it. I've been there. I got the t-shirt. I got all the accolades. I achieved everything I wanted to achieve. And I realized there's still something missing. And therefore on the progressive journey of life, moksha is said to be then the point at which we come to where we begin to question what's beyond. So therefore in the Vedic flow of life, there's nothing wrong with having money. All I share with people is that you can acquire money, but 2 things are very important. Earn it with integrity and spend it with generosity. If you add those 2 things to the equation of acquisition, then that acquisition will bring you deep fulfillment. Otherwise, we often find that the richest people in the world and those who are the most seemingly prosperous have sometimes the most acute situations of dissatisfaction. So earn with integrity and spend with generosity. Then your wealth actually becomes something which elevates you in your life.
And did I hear correctly? You're saying like the love of money is the root of all evil. That's what you were mentioning. So I feel like, has anyone ever experienced this? Has anyone seen like a note fall on the floor, like some money, any like change or notes? Yeah, sometimes you've had that. And what's the first instinct? You pick it up, right? It's like, oh,
Confession time.
Maybe it fell out of my pocket. I don't see anyone. Oh, maybe it's designed for me, etc. Right? And then often when we're searching for gifts, we're looking online and we see something nice, and sometimes we buy gifts. Has anyone ever received or given someone a gift that's a me to you gift? Anyone heard of that? So it's usually when you buy a gift and it's actually something that you want, but you give it to someone else and you know they're going to say, no, you keep it. And you're like, okay, great, I got what I wanted. So my question is, there's something about money. I don't know if there's like a historic origin or something, but like there's a voice in the head of saying, okay, I wonder, like, is this for me? And it's quite like a enticing thing. So how do you do that?
Yeah, Karl Marx actually said money is like the elixir. Although in one sense I'm sitting here saying money is neutral and it just depends on how you use it, we have to be aware that money does have an effect on people that seems to get into their head, an intoxicating effect. Actually, if you look at the world, then in many ways money has destroyed society. We tell people money has destroyed the health system because hospitals are not really about caring for people now, they're a business. Money has also killed the education system, because if you look at so much of education now, it's not so much about the acquisition of knowledge, it's a business. If you look at the justice system in the world, nowadays it's not so much about who's really right, it's about who's got the money to get the best lawyer to file the best suit so that you can get your way. And even religion. Let's just be totally honest. Even money in a religious situation can cause religion to even become corrupted. And therefore money does have an effect on people which seems to awaken their greed and cover their good intelligence. And therefore money has to be dealt with extreme caution. I'll just say one other thing. Some of you may be familiar with the Srimad Bhagavatam. I think you're studying also. So it's very interesting. We're living in the current cosmic age called Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga literally means the time of darkness. And it's explained that what was the day when Kali Yuga began? It's the day that somebody left this world. Who was that? Krishna. The day that Krishna left this world, Kali Yuga began. So it's explained that one time the king Parikshit, who was in charge of the kingdom, he had become the first kind of king in Kali Yuga, and he was trying to keep the effects of Kali at bay. So Kali is not just an effect in the world, but it's also personified, it's a person. So anyway, I won't go through the whole story, but at one point Parikshit wanted to annihilate the personality of Kali. And Kali surrendered to Parikshit and said, no, I surrender to you. Now, according to the ancient rules of being a warrior, if someone surrenders to you, you can't kill them. And so Parikshit had to allow Kali to continue. So Kali said to Parikshit, you have to give me you have to give me somewhere where I can reside in society. So, it's mentioned in an ancient Sanskrit verse. Abhyartitas tada tasmai stanani kalaye dudo dyutam panam striya suna yatra adharmas chaturvidha. Parikshit looked at Kali and he said, okay, I give you 4 places where you can reside. Dyutam, wherever there is gambling. Panam, wherever there is intoxication. Striya, wherever there is illicit connection between man and woman. Suna, wherever there is animal killing. And so Parikshit looked at Kali and said, you can stay in these 4 places. But then it's interesting, Kali looked at Parikshit and said, but in your kingdom, none of these things are going on. And so Parikshit said, okay, I'll give you one more place where you can reside. I'll allow you to reside where money is hoarded. And Parikshit looked at Kali and said, because where money is hoarded, these activities will go on and degradation will ensue. And so there definitely is an effect where one has to be very, very careful of money, because it has a very, very intoxicating and illusory effect. Like we earn money, but in the pursuance of earning money, we lose our values, we lose our health, we lose our relationships, we lose our peace of mind, we lose our time. But I made it. But at what cost? What was the cost of earning all that money? And so the ancient teachers explain we have to be very careful. But at the same time, remember that money and wealth can be used in an amazing way if you have the right spiritual consciousness.
Thank you for that. And in terms of spiritual consciousness, I guess a lot is revealed in the Bhagavad Gita. How many of you have heard of the Bhagavad Gita? Yeah. Some of you are just shy to put up your hand. I know. And from what I understand, like there's the 3 main, like I guess, core yoga systems that are there mentioned, or topics of yoga, and one of them is karma yoga. So I've heard this word karma many times, but what does it mean to attach the word yoga to karma? Is it just doing your whatever you do, or what is it?
Thank you so much. Yeah. Karma actually can be defined in different ways. Sometimes karma simply means activity. Sometimes karma means a reaction. And sometimes karma refers to the law which governs every action attracting a certain reaction. So it could refer to an action, a reaction, or a law. But when we talk about karma yoga, is referring to action. And the idea of yoga is connection. So karma yoga literally means how do you connect your daily activities to a higher spiritual noble purpose. So for example, if one is working in the corporate world and you utilize whatever you gain in the corporate world for a higher cause, for a spiritual cause, then you're no longer working, you're no longer doing karma, now you're doing karma yoga. So say for example, you work in the corporate world, so what do you get? Well, the first thing you get is you get some money. Then you also get some influence, some knowledge. Then you also get a network of people that you're connected with. As soon as you begin utilizing all of these things for something more than just our personal desires, then it becomes karma yoga. And in that way, Krishna tells Arjuna, you don't need to leave the world. You don't need to accept the dress of a sannyasi. Because what Krishna says to Arjuna in a very beautiful verse, Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karotiya sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na cha kriya. Who is the real sannyasi? Is it someone who wears orange dress? No. The real sannyasi is the one who karma phalam, the fruits of their activity, They utilize it in service, in contribution, in spiritual dedication to something more than themselves. And then Krishna says, if you act in the world like that, then you're the highest sannyasi. And you accrue no karmic reaction. And in that way, your life actually becomes perfect.
Oh, thank you for that. And in terms of work, how many of you are familiar with the term work-life balance? Work-life balance, yeah, you have seminars just on work-life balance, no other term, work-life balance. We want to know what to do about that. So maybe we can get some spiritual insight, especially understanding that in terms of Vedic principles, there's a concept of practicing, doing some type of practice of meditation, etc. But we've got the 9 to 5, we've got the Monday to Friday, etc. How do we fit that all in? And we thought it was just balancing exercise and work, but now it's spirituality, exercise and work, and etc. There's so much. So
most of our lives are focused on the 9 to 5. But the spiritual teachers explain what's perhaps more important in your life is what you do between 5 and 9. Because in those hours between 5 p.m. and 9 a.m., that's the time when you re-energize. That's the time when you realign. That's the time when you review. That's the time when you reconnect with your purpose and your principles. And if you spend that time doing those activities and renewing your energy and realigning, then when you emerge in the world between 9 and 5, you'll have much more perspective, you'll have elevated consciousness, and instead of becoming influenced by the world, you will become an influencer of the world. Therefore, we encourage everyone that every single day before you enter into the corporate world, join the 5 a.m. club. I tell people, if you don't join the 5 a.m. club, then the 9 a.m. reality will become the 12 p.m. catastrophe. But it all begins in the morning. It all begins before the world is moving. That's where we connect with our deepest aspirations and our deeper purpose. And so we encourage everyone to have a morning routine. 1 hour. I tell people 15, 15, 15, 15. 5 to 6. Try it for 1 month. 15 minutes, move. Do some yoga, do some exercise. 15 minutes, meditate. Go inside. Calm your mind. Try to just be still and silent. 15 minutes, read. Try to grasp some wisdom that can give you a lens through which to see the world in a deeper way. And 15 minutes, reflect. Write a journal. Write down what are your dreams, your aspirations. How do you want to live today? With what kind of perspective? And by doing this, move, meditate, read, and reflect. 1 hour. If you do it for 30 days, money back guarantee, even though I'm completely broke. I guarantee you, you will emerge in the world as a different person. And then you will be able to find work-life balance. But the reason we can't find work-life balance is because we haven't connected with our principles and our purpose. And when you live life without connecting to your principles and your purpose, then you lose sight of what's important, and then life goes out of balance, and then 30 years go by, and then you look back and regret, why did I neglect all these things? Therefore, conscious living means live with your principles in mind and live with your purpose in mind.
thank you for sharing. I feel I can open it up maybe to the audience if anyone has any questions. Any questions from the audience? Okay, great.
Or you can project and we can repeat it.
Hare Krishna. I've been reading Gita and understand a bit of philosophy of karma yoga, but it's still very difficult to incorporate in daily life. So if you could help with some more practical examples, and you touched upon it a bit, but also it's because we are dealing with a lot of people who don't understand this concept, especially here of Gita, karma yoga. It is brutal out there, so it becomes even more difficult in corporate world to adapt it now as compared to what we have seen with our parents and us when they tell their stories. So anything that you could share that could help us will be helpful.
Thank you so much. Yeah. The first thing, the first step in practicing a karma yoga lifestyle is we have to understand the spiritual reason why we're here. It's very difficult to connect everything in your life to a higher purpose, to divinity, to God, if we're not clear about what is that even. Therefore, Krishna says in life we should always begin with the big questions. Everyone in the world is asking how and what. But the very first question we should ask is, why? Why do I exist? Why does this world exist? What is the purpose of life? Why do bad things happen to good people? Once we have the why clarified, the how and the what becomes much, much easier. But most people don't have a why. They just jump into the how and the what because that's what the world tells you to do. They say the worst type of success is when you achieve all of your goals and then you figure out there was somebody else's goals because we didn't take the time to ask why. Like for example, if I say to someone, here are 2 pens, blue or red, which one? Red, okay. 2 pens, blue or red, which one?
Blue.
Blue. 2 pens, which one? Red or blue?
Why do we choose?
That's the one. Why do I even have to make a decision? You didn't have to choose either. But because I forced you, you made a decision. And that's what happens in life. Doctor or lawyer, which one? I don't know. Okay, I'll become a doctor then. Not that there's anything wrong with doctors or lawyers, that's absolutely fine. But you see, this is how the world pushes you. Therefore, the first thing you need to do is, one English philosopher, he says, the most pressing question in life is, why do I exist in the first place? You don't go into a car, drive for 50 miles, and then ask the question, by the way, where are we going? I mean, you'd never do that. You know where you're going before you drive the car, but the amazing thing in our life is we make our goals, our aspirations, our vision. But why? Therefore, if you want to live a karma yoga lifestyle, the first thing is you have to ask why. You have to clarify the spiritual purpose of life. And in order to clarify the spiritual purpose of life, we tell people A, B, C, D. Very simple. A means associate with spiritual people. This is a place where you can actually begin to explore these questions, because if you go out there and ask people, they'll be like, is everything okay? Like, just relax, like, just get on with it. Like, what's wrong with you? Is something going wrong? No, I just want to know why I exist. What do you mean? So you need association of spiritual people where these questions are being answered. First point. B means books. Read books. Small minds discuss people. Average minds discuss events. But great minds discuss wisdom. Most people spend their lives just talking about other people. And if they're a little bit more refined, they might talk about world events. But none of that is really going to elevate your consciousness. Discuss wisdom. Books. C means, we say chanting or meditation or whatever you want to do, spend some time. Stillness. In a world that's endlessly passionate, to sometimes just be still is so powerful. And D means diet. Doesn't mean you have to eat less, but it just means be very conscious about your diet. This is also, I'd have to explain this more, but you'd be surprised how much of an effect what you eat has on your spiritual consciousness. So the ancient teachers explain, when you do these things as a daily habit, A, B, C, D, then what happens is your spiritual quotient increases. You clarify your why, and you understand, where am I going in life? And once you have the why, the how and the what becomes easy. Then you'll know how to be a karma yogi. Then you'll know how to deal with your boss who seems to be endlessly annoying. Then you'll know how to deal with this life situation and how to connect it in a spiritual cause, because the how and the what becomes easy if we know the why. But most people don't ask the question, why? And therefore, the Vedanta Sutra, the very first aphorism is, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now you have the human form of life. Ask, question, inquire. Otherwise, we're like the person who gets in the car, drives for 80 miles, and then asks, by the way, where are we going? We don't want to do that. So, this is the purpose of the Bhagavad Gita. Ask first, act later. But the world will tell you, act first. Religion, you do that when you're old. Don't become so religious so early. Get a job, have a family, be successful, and then when you're 80, Bhagavad Gita. No. Bhagavad Gita is not the spare tire that you take out when everything is punctured. It's not the spare wheel. It's the steering wheel. It's what you keep your hands on to direct every decision and direction. Otherwise, we don't know where we're going. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Sometimes we tend to do sorry, forgive me. But like this. So focus on the why, how and the what, piece of cake. Okay?
I don't know if my voice is loud enough. I'll try. So I have two questions. The first is, how do we deal with, because in our spiritual journey, we also come across some unfavorable situations. Not always, but sometimes. So mainly in terms of people. So how can we deal with it?
So you join a spiritual path, and then even within that spiritual community, you may come across unfavorable people.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with that?
Yeah.
Like you thought these guys would be better. I mean, but you expected more. Like in that sense?
No, not like that. Maybe, like I cannot give examples, but in terms of more connection or sorry, I'm not able to explain in this group, but maybe I will ask you personally then.
Okay.
But my second question.
But let me just say something on that anyway, because it could be a question. Because sometimes we live in a spiritual community, and let's just be honest, sometimes we feel spiritual people's ideals are way higher than the reality of their own character. Sometimes it happens. How do we deal with that? Spiritual communities are like hospitals. They're places where people come to get better. Like imagine you went to a hospital and say, what's going on here? The doctors must be terrible. Everyone's sick here. No, they're here. They're in the process. They, you know what I mean? So I think sometimes when we come to a spiritual community, we may have unrealistic expectations of everyone's spiritual standards, let's just say. Therefore, it's important not to. What helps me when I look at spiritual people is I don't ask myself, how far are they away from the ideal? The better question to ask may be, how much have they transformed from where they were? So like, I may be here, like, I'm probably here, by the way, but very far away from the ideal. But a better way to judge me would not be to say, look how far he is away from the ideal. The better way to judge would, where was he when he started? And has he moved? If I've moved from there to there, that's pretty good. And so with spiritual people, we have to be realistic that everyone is in the proverbial shower and they're getting better, hopefully.
I think you are perfectly answered my question. Thank you so much for that.
I'm known to be a mind reader.
Without even giving an example, you answered my question wholeheartedly. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And my second question is about which type of yoga is best. Like, there are...
Which type of yoga?
Yeah, which type of yoga is best? For example, Prabhuji mentioned about 4 kind of yoga.
Yeah.
Like karma yoga, bhakti yoga, as an example. So which one is best and why?
Oh, thank you so much. Such a nice question. The Bhagavad Gita is sometimes likened to a jewel box. And it's said that the Bhagavad Gita is 18 chapters and it can be split into 3. The first 6, the middle 6, and the final 6. And an ancient teacher, Vishwanath Chakravarti, he says, the first 6 chapters are like the base of the jewel box, and they're known as karma yoga. Loosely, the yoga of how to live. He says the final 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita are like a lid. And they're known as Jnana Yoga, or the yoga of detachment, or the yoga, I say, of how to let go. And he says the middle of the jewel box is where the jewel is. And he says that those middle 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita are known as Bhakti Yoga, or the yoga of love. So in essence, the Bhagavad Gita is a book which teaches you how to live, love, and let go. If you learn how to live, love, and let go, you won't walk through this world, you'll float through this world. And in that sense, all of the yoga systems are valuable to us. So therefore, Krishna speaks about all of them. However, Krishna does say that the highest aspiration is the highest aspiration to be successful? Is the highest aspiration to love? Or is the highest aspiration to be unaffected and detached? What would you say?
Love.
There you go. It's a romantic man. No. Of course. You're absolutely right. What's success if you don't have relationships? What's the first thing you do when you're successful? Pick up your phone and tell your friends. But what about if you don't have any friends to tell? Bit dry. Success is not the highest aspiration. And detachment is nice. We don't want to just live our life detached from everything. Oh, I'm detached. Okay, great. We want to love. So Krishna says in a beautiful verse, Yoginam api sarvesham madgaten antaratmana Shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yukta tamam mataha. Yukta means to be connected. Yukta tama means the most intimately connected. Krishna says, Yoginam api sarvesham, of all the yogis, the one who has love, the bhakti yogi, is the highest. And so the Gita contains many yoga paths which can help us in many aspects of life. But it culminates in love. Because after all, when all is said and done, we want to love and we want to be loved. If you have everything but you don't have that, and if you don't have anything but you have that, so bhakti is the culmination. Is that okay? All right, thank you. Yes?
I've always heard everyone are working hard in their life for happiness, and I've always heard people who are spiritual are always happy, and I want to understand how this works. How being spiritual will make a person happy.
How does being spiritual make you happy? It was funny, once I was at a university program and I said, you can't be happy without spirituality. So there's one person in the audience, he said, I'm not spiritual, I'm happy. I said, no, you're not. He said, no, I'm happy. I said, no, you're not. He said, no, I'm happy. I said, just see, if you're happy, it kind of like all arguments go out of the window. If someone's happy, you can't argue with them. It's powerful. Happiness is the most convincing philosophical argument. Anyway, that's another point. So how does spirituality make you happy? Well, it's a basic point. If I go into the shop and I tell the shop owner, I need a battery for my phone, what's the first question he's going to ask me? What kind of phone do you have? And if I turn round to him and say, don't ask such deep philosophical existential questions, just give me a battery. Oh, no. If you don't know who you are, if you don't know what phone it is, how you will know which battery will make you happy? So the most basic fundamental point is, how can you know what will make you happy if you don't know who you are? Well, of course I know who I am. I've been living with myself my whole life. But actually people don't. One English writer says, I'm not who I think I am, I'm not who you think I am, I'm who I think you think I am. We've become so disconnected from our own identity, we don't even know who we are anymore. Sometimes we look at ourselves and we think, is that really me? So spirituality means first and foremost to know who you are. And so Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita, Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yovanam jara tatha dehantara prapti dhirastatra namuyati. This body is changing. Every 7 years, every single cell in your body has changed. But it's still you. That means you can't be your body. You can't be your mind. But then who are you? The Upanishads say the eyes see the world. The mind observes the eyes. The intelligence observes the mind. But the soul observes all of those things. How does spirituality make you happy? Because it brings you in touch with who you really are. And when you know that I'm a spiritual being, then the very next thing you know is that no matter how many material things you get, it won't make you happy. When we try to look for happiness from material things, one of 4 things will happen. Number 1, you don't get it. Frustration. Number 2, you get it and it's no good. Frustration. Number 3, you get it, it's good, and then it fades. Frustration. Number 4, you get it, it's good, it remains, but there's the side B that you didn't want. Frustration. We openly challenge anyone in the world. Show me one type of pleasure which isn't subject to these 4 defects. Open challenge. Not possible. Because material happiness does not satisfy the soul. But the biggest lie in the world is that material achievements material acquisitions will make you happy. We go out there in the world and we tell people, material things don't make you happy. And then look at our life and see how much effort and investment we're putting into acquiring those very same material things. Because we haven't deeply understood I'm a spiritual being. And that's why spiritual teachings can bring you a higher level of happiness. But you have to try it. Everyone knows material things don't make me happy, but because they have no alternative, they keep doing the same thing again and again. But Einstein said madness means to keep doing the same thing again and expect a different result. ये तो पागल है. Keep doing the same thing again, thinking something different will happen. We have to wise up. So it's not cheap. Some people approach religion as a tradition, as a culture, as a ritual, and definitely they get some benefit. There's something far more valuable. It can actually teach you who you really are. All right.
You don't mind asking one more question?
Sure.
What is the effective way to get detached from material?
What is the effective way to get detached from material things? If you're hungry and you have a sandwich and I say, hey, hand it over, got to be detached after all. It's going to be difficult. But if I say, here's a pizza, let's trade. Okay, I'll be there. Happily. So Krishna says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasovarjan rasopyasya padam drishtva nivartate. If you want to become detached from the material things of this world, the only way you can do it, padam drishtva nivartate. Experience something higher. Once you experience something higher, you're like, why do I need this? No worries. But you can't live in a vacuum. We need some rasa. Understand? Sanskrit word rasa means taste. But what we are endlessly looking for in this world is material rasa, which is chapalasuk. Very flickering. But when we taste bhakti rasa, the rasa of love, then we don't need anything anymore. Okay? Thank you.
So I just want to do a quick time check. Are we okay on time? 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Swami. Thank you for the opportunity, firstly. So you spoke about meditation as a 15-minute, 15 ritual. And of course, we hear about that a lot. And I firmly believe it can help us overcome the constant mental chatter that the corporate life has given us, such fast-paced schedules. While you're doing something, you think about the next one and the next one. So I personally have been trying to get into meditation, but not with a lot of success. The mental chatter just does not go away. Do you have any tips for, how can we initiate ourselves into meditation, and how do we calm ourselves and try to be effective meditators?
People have a very romantic idea of meditation. And I will sit down, cross my legs, breathe in. Soon I'll be floating. Meditation is a discipline. When I was 16, I started doing mantra meditation. Nearly 30 years later, I'm still doing it every single day. And I still have to put effort into it. It's progress. It gets sweeter and sweeter. But it's hard work. Therefore, the mind, Arjuna says in a beautiful verse in the Gita, Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadridam tashyaham nigraham manye vayuriva sudushkaram. Very beautiful, he says. He says the mind is unsteady, is stubborn, it's impetuous, and he says vayuriva is more difficult to control the mind than even to control the wind. But Krishna looks at him and Krishna says in reply, Ashamshaya mahabaho manodur nigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena chagriyate. Says Ashamshayam, you're right, without doubt, difficult to control the mind. But he says you can do it abhyas, by practice. And so, the first thing is I would recommend do it before the kids wake up. Let me first share with you one important thing. Did you know time carries memory and location carries energy? If you do something at the same time every day, it becomes etched into your consciousness. And if you do something in the same location every day, it just carries a certain energy which allows you to enter that activity. So therefore, time carries memory, location carries energy. So the first thing is if you meditate the same time, the same place every day, you'll already be much more at an advantage to entering deeper into that practice. First thing. Second thing is, do it in the morning. Because the morning is the most peaceful time. The physical body is re-energized, the mind is less cluttered, and the surrounding energies of the world are more susceptible, are more conducive to higher contemplation. So second thing is do it in the morning. Third thing is that it's mentioned that in this age there are many types of meditation, but the most powerful type of meditation is to meditate on sound. Because to do silent meditation or breath work is very, very difficult for the impetuous mind. Therefore, if you focus on sound, it becomes much, much easier and much, much more powerful. And therefore, in this age, it's mentioned of all meditation practices, mantra is the most powerful. So I could give you many, many more things, but I would say those three things. Number one, regulate it and do it at a specific time and place every day. Number two, try to prioritize and do it in the morning. When you wake up in the morning, don't look at your phone. Don't look at your emails. Try, if you can, not to even speak to anyone. Before you do anything related to this world, first deal with your inner world. And then emerge into the world. Second thing. Third thing, what was the third thing I said? Sound, yeah. Thank you. Yes, try to do sound. So we meditate on beats. So you can see here, these are beats. So, very simple. You just chant the mantra, one beat at a time. It's very beautiful. Once we were traveling around and someone came to me and said, I love you, Hare Krishnas. You're always singing, you're always dancing, you're always happy. But don't you guys have any new songs? So there's no need to change this song. It's powerful. Einstein said, you'll know the truth because it will be simple and it will be beautiful. And so don't underestimate the mantra. It's so simple and so beautiful that it may just elevate you, as teachers say, to the highest conscious state. So these are some tips. So yeah, please make it a point. It's the World Health Organization says the biggest health problem in the coming decades will not be cancer, will not be heart disease, will not be anything physical. It will be mental, psychological struggle. Everyone is going through it. I went behind the car and it said, "Do not disturb," already disturbed. And Arjun said it, Janjalam Imana Krishna, mind. But we don't spend any time uplifting the mind. We have to give the time. So all the technology is there, dear friends. Many of you also here, you grew up with this culture. In one sense, who am I? I'm just a kid from London. Many of you were born, you were rooted in this culture. It's your wealth. So Krishna says, Nahi jnane nasadrisham pavitram ihavidyate. There's nothing more valuable in the world than this knowledge. So it's so ironic that the very individuals who are meant to be the wisdom keepers of this knowledge, and the sharers, often may not realize the power of it. So please take it seriously. It's a great opportunity. Thank you all for giving up your time, for being here. Thank you for lending your ears and your attention and allowing me to share a few thoughts with you. I don't come in front of you as someone who knows it all. I'm not sitting here saying I'm a perfect person. But I can definitely share with you that from whatever I've learned on my journey and seen in my own spiritual practice, the gifts that are available from this can enrich your life to unlimited extent. And therefore, in my own humble way, I don't know if I'm successful or not, but just trying to encourage you. Please take it seriously. It's a great opportunity, and you'll find that everything else in your life flourishes if you keep this very, very central and as a priority. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. So we'll all chant a very loud Hare Krishna mantra. Thanking Maharaj for his amazing session today. So Hare Krishna.